Hello. This is Jeremy. No, should I introduce myself first?
If you want to.
All right, this is Jeremy,
This is Patrick.
and this is the first episode of Ice in My Veins podcast.
Named for our favorite player, Trae Young, because he's got ice in his veins.
Actually, D'Angelo Russell.
Our other favorite player.
Our other player. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
All right, yeah. So we got our first episode for the first week of the 2022-2023 NBA season.
Right. I think we should start chronological with day one, opening night, Tuesday. So the Celtics beat the Sixers.
I did not watch any of that game. Did you?
I actually watched the whole thing. While I was playing poker, actually, at Bill's place.
You up in poker?
Yeah, I was up. I was up a little bit. But I started bluffing toward the end, and then I just lost, but I still was up positive at the night. But
That's all you're positive for the night.
Yeah. So, Joel Embiid actually looked very not great.
That's not good for your
Beginning.
fantasy team.
It was not. He was on the ground more than he was playing basketball, and there was you saw the
Marcus Smart, I did see that.
Yeah,
I think
see
it was
that.
actually really lame that he was like, bro, I could crack Embiid's head open.
That was weird.
That's so I don't
Because
know.
first of all, you're so much smaller.
Exactly, you could
Yeah.
not.
I think that was just because that was pretty I was halfway through the game already.
Yeah.
Right, and Joel was breaking shots. He was kind of getting bodied by Al Horford and Grant Williams, and I was like,
Just
bro,
like in the playoffs.
I was like, this is not it. And that was off a rebound that he got it, and he almost. They said almost broke his arm, but I think it was fine.
No,
I
but
think
that
it was
hurts
okay.
when that happens.
It does hurt when it
yeah,
happens.
that's
And
kind of
it's-
scary, honestly.
And it's a little bit dirty because you're not trying to. He's not trying to steal the ball at that moment. He's just trying to get the rebound, and he just wasn't successful.
Okay, so Joel was 9 for 18, which is really not that bad.
He was 9 for 18, but most of that was like LeBron, who was in first half it was rough. Second half he made it up, and also he got saved by fouls.
Yeah,
Like a
he was
decent
7
amount.
for 9.
I would say, yeah. So he if that wasn't the case, even and those fouls were not hard. His fouls are never that hard in general. But if he didn't get saved, he probably would have shot from 9 from 22.
I see. Okay,
Which
that's
is
fair. So you were not
which is
impressed
bad
with
for-
Joel
no,
first
no.
game?
For center. And I was just me. I was just yo, my whole season's over. But honestly, I think the Celtics are a great team, and I think that his first game.
Is that first game? Also,
So I think he's gonna
26 points, 15 rebounds. That's still pretty good.
It's still it's still really
you'll
good.
be fine.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
yeah, I'll be fine. And but 6 turnovers though.
I do see that 6 turnover. That's not great.
6 turnovers from a center, bro. Honestly, my turnovers for fantasy are already shot at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
who's your other high turnover guy?
I think I have some point guards, but each one's averaging
Scary
4.
Terry you have, right?
Yeah, each
he's
of them are averaging 4. So I right now have double what I have against Evan, 30 to 15 turnovers.
Well, but that's kind of good
So-
though, right? Because you'd rather be
Yeah,
double than
right.
2 more.
Yeah.
It's the same. You lose the category either way.
So all right, the next game was Lakers versus Warriors.
Yes, which I did watch.
I did watch that too.
Unfortunately, regretfully.
I think everyone kind of knew the outcome of this game.
Honestly, I didn't. I thought Lakers were gonna win.
I actually bet on the Lakers, so I wanted the Lakers to win.
So everyone knew the outcome of the game. Besides,
Well, you're talking about a team that missed the playoffs versus the team that won the championship last
I
year.
agree. Yeah.
And then not only does Clay have more time to recover than he did toward the end of the last season, but Jordan Poole was able to develop his game more, I think, and he actually did really well that
Poole
night
looked
too.
really good. Poole looked really good.
So there's definitely some baddies sitting on the sidelines because he was draining. You see that one where he just caught the ball he was just
Yeah,
chucked
I
in
think
there.
I said that to you.
I was like, damn. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? What the hell are these shots? Honestly, it takes a lot of confidence to shoot those, but also you gotta be a Jordan Poole type of guy, cause I don't know. I feel if anyone else on a regular team did that, the coach would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Right? Even if you're a high percentage shooter,
Yeah.
say you're Damian Lillard. I feel that type of Superman shot is it was a Superman. It wasn't it wasn't even a far shot, right?
Mhm.
Something like Trey or Damian Lillard does. It was a Superman just throw in the air off a catch. And then they were just hot in the moment. I think that was their like third 3 in the row. So Warriors looking really good. What's your take
Warriors
on
do
those?
look really good. Lakers do not look so good. Westbrook not coming off the bench because he said it caused an injury almost when he did it in preseason.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. What do you think about Russ?
I actually think Russell Westbrook is actually like kind of we're seeing a little bit of his old self a little bit.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I think he's unfairly like scapegoated for the overall Lakers failures, but I also don't think he like.
Well,
I
he
don't know. He shot okay. But
shot okay, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. I feel like
yeah, well, 3 assists is why it's not old Russ, right? Because
Yeah.
old Russ be 11 assists.
But like you know that there's a clip going around like it's the Westbrook corner 3 air ball, but you know he got 2 offensive rebounds to get that shot off. So like in a way, like I feel like that's like something I would do. I'd be
That
like
is something you would do.
I'll
in a
I'll
pickup
get the
game.
boards right, and I'll be like okay if I'm getting 2 boards I'm gonna take this shot because you know
You earned it.
I earned it right.
But
So
you're also not an NBA player paid $40 million.
But honestly, that my shot percentage, like 3 from the 3, is definitely better from Westbrook's. Because
It's
honestly,
actually possible.
every time this man is open at the arc, bro, like you just don't want him shooting. I don't know.
He's 1 for 3. So
He's 1 for 3, but
Yeah.
even then,
yeah,
I feel like he knows.
yeah, they got a lot of problems on that team.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything you want to say about what they can do? What do you think they can do to
They-
fix it?
Trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner.
You think so? I saw a trade with Miles
Yeah.
Turner.
That's like the
That's solid.
classic,
Yeah.
like speculated Lakers trade. It would be Russ and some of their picks for those two.
Mhm.
I mean, LeBron is still LeBron, right? So I think while they have him, they should capitalize and try to be a serious team. But I think it's really hard when you're paying Westbrook $40 million and he's at best kind of a mediocre role player. So I think it's very unlikely that he is able, like him and LeBron are not that compatible because LeBron and him are both ball dominant, and LeBron is like at every year of Russ's career has been a way better player. So
That's true. I agree.
it's just sort of redundant.
Mhm.
And there's also like a big personality aspect, right? Where Russ is a former MVP and like I think would not be amicable to like coming off the bench or playing like 18 minutes a game, which is probably like
Right.
the best. It would be like when
Yeah.
LeBron is off the floor, Russ is on the floor.
I think that's honestly pretty solid.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen for like people level reasons. So
Yeah.
I think, and even if they did not have the whole Westbrook problem, they'd still not be a great team. Like they are very, very top heavy.
Mhm.
So
How do you feel about Pat Bev?
I
On this team.
actually think he is one of the better fits with LeBron on the roster.
I agree.
He's a 3-and-D role player. Like that's what LeBron needs with him.
Yeah, I think
So.
his stat line doesn't really show for it, but like at the same time, like I think he's a solid defender.
Yeah,
He-
I
he
mean, he
gets-
didn't have a great game last night, but
No.
or 2 nights ago, but I mean, he
Yeah.
shot like high 30s% from 3 for the past 5 years. So I think he had a down year last year. It was like 35, but in general, he's a good shooter. He plays defense. Like
But in
That's
the
what you
early
need with
minutes, he
LeBron.
was like he hit like trying to do like a step back 3, and we're like, sir, you are not at this level to be trying those. So that's just like I think if he sticks to his role and like kind of has what his role was on the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think he would
which
be very
he
successful.
will. He will. Like
I think
that's,
so,
That's
yeah.
what he's been for his entire career. So
Yeah, they definitely have to find their mojo, and
yeah, well, I just don't want to see
I'm-
LeBron have another mid-year. There's only so
Yeah.
many LeBron years left, so I would like to see a really good LeBron team
That's
before he
true.
retires. But if he wants to stay in Los Angeles, it remains to be seen if that will happen.
yeah, come to the Knicks.
That would be actually so fire. LeBron
think
on the
so.
Knicks.
That would
You know what actually like kind of almost happened?
really.
Well, like it was speculated,
Oh,
like how when KD went to the Nets, how everyone was like, "Oh, he might go to the Knicks." It was kind of like that before LeBron went to Miami, which like would have been, completely changed history,
it would have.
right? Like we
That's
would have had
gonna be-
LeBron, and that's probably at least one Knicks.
But do you think
championship.
Ray Allen would have come to the Knicks as well?
Well, it would have been like Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh. Didn't
Part
they,
of I
they
think
also
that's-
trade for Ray Allen. Though,
they
right?
did, but later on.
But later.
Yeah.
No D Wade though. That
Yeah.
D Wade picture, you know what I'm
I
talking about,
know.
with like this, the celebration and the dunk, that wouldn't have existed. One of the great
Yeah.
shots, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, next topic, day 2.
There are a lot of games.
There were a lot of games. I only want to talk about like the ones that were.
Well, there was one game that everyone was watching, which was
Yeah.
Nets Pelicans, to see the return of Ben Simmons to the NBA court
Okay.
after over a year,
It was over a year.
right? Because it would have been the playoffs in 2021. Was
Yes.
the last time, the Game 7 where he passed out. That was the last time Ben was on the court. So
Right. So
the fact that he was on the court at all, I think, was a triumph.
Ben
He should be applauded for that.
I first want to talk about the Pelicans. We'll talk about the Pelicans first. I had this take that the Pelicans were probably a top 5 West Coast team this year.
I don't agree.
And I believe that they had the stat line and the gameplay to show for it.
Okay. So you think the Pelicans will finish top 5 seed?
Top 5 seed in
I
the
disagree.
West. I think so.
Okay.
I think they're really solid right now. I think Zion is playing really well.
He is?
He is.
He looks pretty healthy.
He
which is
looks
awesome.
healthy.
Yeah.
He looks a lot skinnier. Like, you know those, like, pictures where he looks like, looks a little big? Yeah, I mean, he's slimmed down, and
Yeah.
he's been able to get offensive. He does what he does best, like, get offensive board and just, like, put it back in, you know? I think that's a really strong suit, especially in today's NBA. Like, if that's something you can do, then, like, it's really strong. I mean, like, that's why, like, the top MVPs, like, candidates are centers, right? So, who else? Let's see. CJ McCollum.
CJ McCollum looked good.
He did look good. But he looked good last year in the playoffs, too. Him and Ingram, both really solid.
Yeah,
I
they
think
both had, like, what? One of them had, like, 21 points, and they're at 25, I think.
Brandon Ingram actually scored 28 points
Wow.
with 7
for him.
rebounds
Good
and
for him.
5 assists.
That's
That's
nice.
crazy.
Nice. It's
Honestly,
a productive night.
it was. And they cooked the Nets.
They did actually cook the Nets.
They
Even though KD had 32 points, and the Nets got destroyed.
But, like, I want to talk about Nets. If you look at their stat sheet, KD's the only one doing anything.
How many
to be
points did
honest.
Kyrie have?
15.
That's pretty bad for Kyrie.
It is pretty bad for Kyrie. I remember Kyrie, like, he came back from, like, the whole COVID ordeal.
Yeah.
And he scored, like, he was able to score, like, 30, 40 points.
That was an insane game, yeah.
That was, like, those 2 games. He scored,
I
I
know.
think, like, back-to-back 30 bombs.
Yeah.
And now he's scoring 15, 5, and 2
How
as
many
their
shots
number
did he
1.
take?
I don't have that on my...
I'll take a look. You can keep going.
But Ben Simmons, this man, what a fraudulent man. Scored 4 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 fouls. Foul out of the game at like 23 minutes.
Yeah, 23 minutes
He played
on the court.
Yeah, on
so
the
it's
court.
farther than 23
So like
minutes.
about
of the game.
half, we'll say.
A little bit
more than
that.
probably a little more than half.
that, yeah.
This man is the same as Cyberpunk to the video game world. That is my take. Such high expectations with such low like output results, right? And we waited so long. This man didn't play a whole season. And I love how the Nets we'll talk about Steve Nash, right? He's like, yo, Ben's been putting the work, you know. Whenever he's ready, he'll be really good, I believe. And people were believing, but you know, I knew that this man was fraudulent.
You're still a Ben Simmons doubter.
Oh, of course, bro. Like, if this game doesn't prove anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, like, I realized, like, okay, so he's not a great scorer, but he's a great passer, right? 5 assists. That's not terrible. But when you're, like, known for also, like, trying to get steals and stuff, but you foul out, like, 6 fouls, like, you know he's just trying to get blocks, get steals, and he's just failing at that. So if you're failing at the one job you kind of have, you know what I'm saying? Then, like, it's over for you. And I think Ben should be counting his time in the league right now.
Wow, you think Ben's going to go to the Chinese league?
He's gonna. I don't think he's bad enough to go to G League, but I can see him fall, like, into like a role player spot.
I mean, he kind of is a role player right now.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was like a top 3, like, he was the top 3 in the Sixers, right? The main point guard, and he was, you know, he won he was Rookie of the Year.
Yep, Rookie of the Year.
And
I
he
think
won something.
3-time All-Star.
3-time All-Star.
That's it.
That's it.
He was never Defensive Player of the Year.
No,
even though people sometimes think he was.
I was like, there's definitely no way, because
No.
there's definitely a center or something.
Exactly.
But he was a great defender back then, known to be.
He's a pretty good defender now, I would say.
I think he's okay.
I think, you know, this is just, he's getting his feet wet. It's his first game back after 18 months. I think, in a week or two, it's going to be a different narrative. I think people are going to start flipping on Ben because they're going to realize this team is going to get him open looks that are hopefully within 3 feet of the basket. And he's going to produce. I think, we're going to see steals, blocks, assists, maybe 8 points a game, maybe 10 points a game. I think Ben is going to return to form on the Nets, and I think he's going to be very successful.
Nah, man. This man is soft, bro. This man.
Is he really that soft? He had 6 fouls because he was trying so hard on defense.
Bro, it's so easy to foul, bro. I can literally, bro, it's not like football, bro. Like, you could, it's not hard to do fouls. The reason why he's soft is, he just doesn't, I think he lost his basketball, intuition.
Well,
does that make sense?
It is very hard offensively when, people are literally just leaving you open, right? Because it's much easier to guard him than, anyone else because you don't have to step up when he's on the really at all far away from the basket.
Right.
He's going to drive.
So. But what I'm saying is if Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin can get a 3-point shot, this man should be able to hit
Andre Drummond does not have a 3-point shot though.
Bro, he hit 3 for 3 in the preseason game. But he has the ability to make them. Though. But that's what I'm saying.
So does Ben Simmons. Making them in preseason is not the same as making an NBA game.
Bro, this man is afraid to shoot. He doesn't want to shoot. And his shots are weird mid-range floater shots.
They're so weird.
They look like he's at LA Fitness and he's like, I kind of played in high school. This is my shot and I never improved it. That's what it looks like. And I just can't get behind that.
I mean, I like I said, let's give it a few weeks. We'll check back in with Ben, but I think people are sleeping right now.
Okay. We'll have to see.
Take.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But shout out to Yuto Watanabe, Asian representation.
Did he get minutes?
No, he had 0 minutes.
No, he had 9 minutes. He had 9
minutes. But he had Tony Snell.
Yeah, he did have a Tony Snell. Yeah. 9 minutes. Well, he had 1 field goal attempt, missed it. It was a 3-pointer.
Oh.
He actually got fouled once, but missed both free throws.
That's horrible.
And then 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks.
Oh.
So
I still take him over Ben. So
you would take Yuta Watanabe over Ben?
Depending. What do you mean? What do you mean?
You have a team of 8 guys. You need a 9th guy.
To play in the league?
To play in the NBA.
Or not in fantasy?
No, in the NBA.
In the NBA.
You're a general
I'm taking Yuta.
manager. You're taking Yuta.
Because at least I won't be known as the guy who has Ben on his team. And that's just disrespectful. All right. The next game I actually want to talk about is Bulls versus Heat.
I did not watch this game at all.
I didn't watch it.
The Bulls won, right?
The Bulls
I think
did
DeMar
win.
had 30 points.
Yeah. He had 37
damn.
points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds.
Let's go, DeMar.
I was totally wrong. I just want to say, I don't watch the game, so, I can't comment too much about it. But I just want to say DeMar, I thought this man was getting old. I thought, last season was his last, kind of, decent season. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, he's proven me wrong. And
well, it's one game.
It is one game.
I still think last year's probably his last really good year.
But honestly,
if you think of it, look, out of the past 5 years, last year is his really.
I don't know
because
that's what I keep thinking about this man. He's been traded so many times, right? And I feel
I wonder why that is.
No, because he's a solid player. Honestly, he's a hooper, and I gotta respect it. I feel like people doubt, the hooper generation, but honestly, the hooper generation is what carrying basketball right now. So I have to respect it.
Who else is in the hooper generation besides DeMar?
DeMar?
Yeah.
Let me think. Obviously there's the really good ones like Ja. You know what I'm saying? People who I would say it's people who create their own are good at making space and shots that isn't the conventional basketball way. Yeah.
Not the analytical 3-pointers.
I wouldn't even say Luka is a hooper really. Because he really uses his body size and he does post up moves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when
he's crafty, but you're right that there's more to it than that.
And I would say kind of the hoopers are Clarkson on the Jazz.
Yeah, Jordan
Clarkson on the Jazz.
I feel like Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram. Yeah. Oh yeah, Brandon Ingram.
Major hooper.
Definitely. They'll hit turnaround fadeaway shots, and if that is your shot, then you're a hooper. Because that's not in normal basketball. I would say for majority of players, that's not a high percentage shot for most people. I would not say.
Definitely not.
Only the select few can hit those type of shots, and
that is true.
I do I think they're fun to watch, and I think I relate to them a lot.
Your personal
in a way.
game. You
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
your
you're
personal game, you
Yeah,
know,
I can see
'cause
that. I can see
They
that.
go for the sauce, and I respect the sauce. Yeah, but it's just sad how like left open 3-pointer costs more, like is worth more points than like a crazy shot like that. But
Yeah, I mean that's how
That's
how
how
scoring
basketball-
works. So yeah, like
you know,
that's also why there's
no,
not that
like-
many hoopers left.
there
That's why
isn't.
they're a dying breed.
They're a dying breed.
But yeah, Demar
Yeah.
out there holding it down. For
Yeah.
him, so
And I also want to shout out Vucevic for 17 rebounds. That's kind of
he had 17 rebounds.
That's kind of
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. With 15 points too.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's better than I thought he would do in his opening night.
he had
so.
kind of a rough year last year. So.
He did. Next game.
Actually, wait. Question about the Heat. Did Duncan Robinson get in at all?
Let's take a look. Honestly, I feel like
I
Duncan
feel like
Robinson
he probably got like 12 minutes.
11 minutes.
Yeah, there we go.
And he has a solid stat line for like 11 minutes. 5 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds.
Let's go, Duncan.
Yeah. Quality, like if you got him like off the waiver,
No.
I think it'd be okay.
You don't want anyone playing 12 minutes off the waiver. But
Yeah, I mean, those are solid stats. I'm pretty sure
I'm
he
just
was
a
high
fan.
percentage shooter, hopefully.
yeah, but it's too low volume for it to affect
Yeah,
you.
that's true.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
Max
that's
Strus
enough
with
of
22.
that. Wow, that's actually
That's big for him.
Did Jimmy have like 15?
24 actually.
24? Okay.
But like, yeah, they still lost, so
they did.
too
They
much.
lost by like 10, right?
Not too much pot. They lost by 8, so yeah. Next
Alright.
is
Well, we
our-
got to talk about
our
Knicks
home-
Grizzlies.
our hometown heroes.
Well, we already talked about the Nets, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm the true.
Everyone
hometown
knows
heroes.
the Nets are the real team in New York, but we could also talk about the second team.
Took the Grizzlies into OT.
That's basically a win if you're the New York Knicks.
Okay.
That's a
That's-
gold star win.
Yo, that's disrespectful. All right, that's disrespectful. That's fucked up.
No, I mean I think
Where-
both the offseason additions look very good.
think-
Hartenstein,
yeah.
40 minutes.
That is kind of crazy.
That's
actually.
hype. That's hype.
That is hype.
I
He's
thought
a
it would
big
take
man,
till
too.
at least December before Tibbs unlocked his potential like this.
Honestly, I was always a Hardenstein guy.
No, Hartenstein's fire.
Dude, he was a great pickup in fantasy, and like his ball play is like it's solid. It's solid
I love his
for-
passing.
Yeah,
I think it's actually probably his best skill, which is cool for a big man. And then
It
Brunson, I thought looked really good too.
Brunson did okay. He wasn't shooting very well in the first half, but
Yeah, but that's not necessarily even like his
That's not
role,
even his
right?
role, right.
He's
yeah.
playmaker.
I think Julius Randle was looking okay.
He looked like average Julius Randle, like what you would
Julius
expect.
Randle. I mean, he was the lead scorer for the Knicks.
What was it, 24 points?
24 points.
Yep.
Next was 22
From Cam Reddish. Yeah.
Cam Reddish.
I will say this is the best game Cam Reddish will have as a New York Knick. I don't think he'll score more than 22.
have to agree.
Yeah.
But he's doing better. He's doing better than I thought. I think he's gonna be better player than he was last year. But I like last year he was averaging maybe like 6 points. Like I think he'll average maybe like 9.
That is possible, but mostly it's because he may get more minutes.
Yeah.
The thing with Cam Reddish is he's a shooter, right? I don't necessarily mean he's a shot maker. He's a shot taker. They're going to have you'll have a hot game where you score 22, but for most of his career, he's been a guy that scores like 8. And I think it will continue to be the case.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, like one of the lowest defensive IQs I've seen in like the NBA. Like that
That's
man,
true.
every pump fake, he's flying through the air. So
It's true. That is true.
I
Defensive
think
liability.
honestly, it's not a great look for the Knicks that they had a massive game from Cam Reddish and they still lost. Right? Like you would expect if Cam Reddish, who's probably their like 7th best player, drops 22, and it's a competitive game that you win. Right? Like I think they probably will not have another 20-point game from a Cam Reddish like player anytime soon. So
But honestly, solid Knicks debut, I have to say.
yeah, like I said, they almost won for the Knicks. That's a lot better than usual. So good job.
I will not take the slander. All
I
right.
don't know. I thought John Morant looked good.
John Morant looked really good. I mean, he played like he usually does. That's about his average. A little slightly above average, I believe, but definitely.
Desmond Bane looked like he was gonna like literally die in OT.
One thing I have to say is Aldama out of nowhere. 18 points, 11 rebounds. I think that
Without
actually was
Jaren
pretty
Jackson
solid.
Jr.
And not where I thought the Grizzlies were going to go in toward that direction. You know what I'm saying? Without Jaren Jackson, right? Because when you have Brandon Clark, their backup center, who I thought was starting, be only played 19 minutes, and Steven Adams played 33 minutes. Like, I did not know how their dynamic was gonna go, but Brendan Clark, I don't know. He's I picked him up.
Yeah, he's kind of odd man. You picked
I
him
picked
up?
him up.
You should have asked me before you did that.
I think so. Because I remember, dude, honestly, he played really well last season, though.
Yeah.
Even
It's
with,
a different rotation.
It's a different rotation this year. And Steven Adams, like, played better. So, I mean.
Well, Adams will get more run with Jackson out. But I don't. I would drop Brandon Clark and pick someone else up.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next game.
Well, the other ESPN game I actually refuse to talk about. We're gonna skip over it.
Have Suns?
I don't want to talk about it.
We don't have to talk about that.
I don't want to hear anything about that
I mean,
trash game.
that was a trash game. Luka looked actually not bad, though.
Well, there's one Luka free throw shooting.
Luka's free
13 for 13.
That's
That's insane. Like, he's normally a 70% free throw shooter. If he can shoot like 85%, he's probably the best player in the league. He's probably a top 2 or 3 fantasy player. Like, that is crazy if he actually has improved his free throw shooting.
I do.
You know who has not improved their free throw shooting on the Mavs is Christian Wood. Although looked really good in every other regard. So
Yeah, I wanted to ask you actually how do you felt about the Christian Wood trade. I always thought it was actually a really good trade, and from the game, like I think he was actually a really good good pickup because they're able to do like more like heavy pick and roll plays that like was really not an option with when you have Kleba who takes more threes than he does like post shots. So
yeah, I mean, was a good player. I think.
Yeah, he's a good player.
The questions with him are about his willingness to play defense and stuff like that. I think hopefully being on a winning team will be good motivation to like try on defense and to play a more disciplined game. But I mean, he had 25 points. He had 4 threes, so that's pretty sick.
Threes,
Like, I'm excited to see where he goes.
They actually, do you see like in the last minutes they took out Chris Paul?
Yes, I did. Last 6 minutes, Chris Paul did not play, which worked out well for them.
It did. How do you feel about that?
I mean, he's 37.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I think that's why in fantasy, like he dropped down a lot from what he was last year, because I think there was like rumors that he would get less minutes. He's older. He's more of like a veteran player now, and he won't be controlling the play as much. And I think that's goes to show.
No, I mean, I think basketball's a team sport, right? Like, I respect Chris Paul for being like, I'm gonna just, like he accepted that he's gonna sit on the bench for the closing minutes of the game. It's probably, how many times do you think Chris Paul has sat on the bench for the last 5 minutes of a close game in his career?
Right. That's
like probably since like he was in like high school, right? So I think it seems like he took it like a man, and it seems like it was the right choice because they did make a huge comeback and win.
They did.
So
That last shot by Damian Lee.
no, we don't need to talk about it. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Oh, did you see Steph reacted to that?
Oh, really? He did?
Because
What did he
that's
say?
his brother-in-law.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So he was hyped for his brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law. That's a really
It's
large
a
guy.
downgrade. But then you got Seth in the middle. So
Every year at Christmas is like, you still in the league? That's fucked. But, and I think that for the most part is the games that I want to talk
that
about.
was the notable, the
Yeah.
notable part of the slate.
But the Jazz did beat the Nuggets. That is something.
I did see that.
I didn't watch the game, but
Is one game.
It is one game.
right? Like
and the Jazz did run hot. Like whenever you have like your hooper, that's running
another hooper. There.
another hooper
Colin Sexton.
running hot.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. Yeah, honestly, their whole team is like pretty much hoopers.
I will say I was disappointed with Kelly Olynyk. I want to see a little more production out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I need him to be productive for my fantasy team. So
Yeah, honestly, like he only
8
played
points.
15 minutes actually.
I know
That's crazy.
that's very worrying.
Yeah.
I was expecting like 24 plus. So
Yeah, I'm surprised, like especially against someone like Jokic. Like I'm surprised that Jokic didn't score more. He actually had an okay game.
who did play mostly at center for the Jazz? Was it Jared Vanderbilt?
Yeah, it was kind of split, honestly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's Rudy Gay, Beasley, Kessler.
Walker Kessler.
I don't even know. Yeah, and I think they like the Jazz right now are like the Hooper team in like pickup when you don't honestly got the size but you got the shot. That's like the and you make it work. So I honestly the Jazz great showing, especially with the loss of two of their best players, I would say.
Yeah,
right?
and like also two of their next two best players.
Because it was kind of crazy how I think like the Jazz were like they were the first seed for like when they had like for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like
But they were kind of a regular season team.
they were a regular season team, but like they had like a pretty like not great playoff runs both years. So I feel like changing it up was definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
You want to talk about today's game?
Yeah, we got two big ones coming up.
Two very big ones. So we got the Sixers versus the Bucks.
Yeah, it's at Bucks or at Philly?
No,
It's at Philly.
It's
Yeah.
at Philly.
Very interesting. I think this could. We want to see a good showing from Joel after getting kind of destroyed by the Celtics. I think he'll be motivated. Harden, actually, you didn't talk about at all. Like, actually looked amazing.
Harden did
against
look
the Celtics.
amazing.
Like, that was a monster stat line.
That
That was
is
why I was saying he's third pick in fantasy. Like,
He's crazy.
yeah, that was crazy.
Honestly, Sixers look really good. Honestly, I think like they could go all the way.
Really,
I think your
That's
take.
kind of a hot take.
You want to hear about your take? Who the two finals teams are? How do you feel
Yeah.
about that now, huh, sir?
I feel really good about it, actually.
The
I'm
Nets on the
doubling
East?
down. The 2023 NBA Finals will be the Brooklyn Nets at the Los Angeles Clippers.
That's a stupid
I
take.
think Clippers in 6.
I think Sixers, and then the Clippers if they don't get injured, which is not gonna happen.
Well, but you could always say that, like Warriors if they don't get injured.
What I want to see is Sixers versus Grizzlies
Okay,
Or-
that's not gonna
or
happen.
Mavs. That could happen.
No,
You don't know, bro. You think the Clippers like, well, okay, I'm saying like, all right, if they stay healthy, they might be the best contending team in the East or the West, right? But I don't know. I don't trust their anchor. So my prediction of the Bucks at Sixers is that the Sixers take it easy, especially with Chris Middleton out. I think that for 2 reasons. I think the Sixers are not only like a very like high like ceiling team. I'm saying like if they have a good run in the beginning, I feel like this is a game that the Bucks might want to like not like overuse Giannis to like an extent where like he gets like way too tired, risk of injury, especially with Chris Middleton out. So I think that they might take like a little back seat on this game if they don't see a potential in winning early.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I also think it's the first game of the season. I think Giannis is a competitive guy. I think they will try pretty hard.
It's true.
It's not like it's like, March 15th.
It's not. That's true. Yeah, it's
Bucks
not.
at Jazz.
Yeah, and obviously like a player like Giannis, like a legacy matters. Where like he's trying to get them like, he's like a contender to be like a top like 10 player.
Yeah.
So someone like that, like always going for the dub, and that's the mentality.
They're
he
just
has.
competitive. Like think about like even
They are.
pickup, right? As soon as someone starts, flexing or
Yeah.
going off, like you get motivated.
My opinion though is like someone like Chris Middleton is like he's a role player, right? But
I don't agree with that.
You know what I
He's
mean?
not a role player.
no, I
He's
think
he's been an all-star.
he's been All-Star.
Yeah, he's like 1 or 2 times.
I think like I think like he's like when like Giannis like drives in, he's on the arc ready to shoot a 3, or like kind of pump fake and you said to drive. So his job is like really important to be someone who can like hit those shots at a higher percentage. And I don't see like the Bucks having like that guy to hit those shots.
What about Grayson Allen?
Bro, Grayson Allen, bro, man can only like destroy people's like like elbows or whatever. I think it was like Cruz's hand.
Yeah, it was.
So
Ugh.
I am not a Grayson Allen believer
I
whatsoever.
don't think really anyone is anymore.
Honestly, like it's not even that he's a dirty player. I just never thought he was that good.
He's not.
He's not. And I think like being on a team with Giannis, where he gets like open 3 and he hits it, and then people are like, oh wow, what like so he might record like I don't know like 10 points, like
Yeah.
a couple rebounds and like maybe 2 assists. Like people are like, oh, that's not terrible. But if he was on a team where like he actually had to do something like competitive, like I think like you would see him kind of have like a Duncan Robinson role, where he like lower minutes, probably like.
I think Duncan Robinson is like way better than him.
I think so too. I would like pick.
I do actually think Duncan Robinson, like on a different team, could get decent minutes.
But Drew Holiday though, he's a
Drew
solid
Holiday's
player.
Great player.
I that's why I think it's still like gonna be a competitive game. But like I think Sixers take it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, Drew Holiday
yeah.
probably a good matchup to guard Harden.
I think so too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Two very strong teams, and then
They have two very strong teams. I think they
after
have
that,
two strong teams with the similar play styles.
I don't necessarily agree.
You don't think so?
No, because the Sixers play style is oriented around Embiid, and he has a pretty different game than Giannis.
I guess you're right. I can see that.
Giannis is much more, like Embiid is much more methodical, and like Giannis, I feel like just uses like his athleticism to kind of overpower. Embiid like also is obviously a very overpowering presence, but he's kind of got more finesse in some ways.
Yes, but at the same time, I think it's gonna be like it's two teams with really strong centers. So then you have like people in the paint like double teaming those guys, and then like it'll be a toss out to either a good passer and good shooter, and someone who handle ball well like Drew and Harden, and then like they'll take it from there. And then like a bunch of like side players that are pretty solid, but like Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Portis is my guy.
Threes and rebounds.
Threes and rebounds. But that's gonna be an interesting game, and I think they're starting soon actually.
Yeah, 7:15 or 7:30.
Yeah. And the next game is Clippers versus Lakers.
Yes.
I think they're gonna get like it's gonna be a wash.
Who's gonna get washed though?
The Clippers. Not playing. I think that like there's really no player that can stop them. I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Stop who?
The Clippers.
Kawhi and Paul George.
Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah.
Like,
Kawhi may come off the bench.
what? Who would start for them then? Like Batum?
Yeah. I don't even know who they're starting lineup.
Because I remember the Sixers when they both had Kawhi and Paul George out, they were still a feisty
decent.
team.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
exactly.
so that's why I'm like, you know, like that time, like I think they trained their bench or their like role players really well,
team.
and they just got it in the bag. So I think they are strong. I think it being early in the season, that like they're gonna have like be fresh and ready to go. I think Kawhi, unlike Ben Simmons, even though he took a year out, is more hungrier. I think Kawhi was out for legitimate reasons and he wanted to play. That's the difference between him and Ben. You know what I'm saying? Ben just didn't want to play.
I think mental health is a legitimate reason to not be able to
play. All right, don't breed this bullshit here, bro. All right, mental health, yeah, okay, whatever, right? But like you're a NBA player. Like, if you need a mental health issue, that's completely fine. Go ahead, take your break. But, like, if you just don't end up doing well, like, I want to see players do well. Like, that stuff, like, keep in the back.
Dude, just give it time. Give it time.
I don't know.
But, yeah, no, Kawhi, I think, has been out basically as long as Ben Simmons.
Yeah, about. Yeah.
So, I think that's why they may have him come off the bench, just because he is kind of getting back into NBA shape, so...
I
plays
think
a bit
so,
less minutes,
but I think Kawhi is the type of player that he could have came back early last year if he wanted to. But
early or late last year?
Oh no, not like I meant like
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like he could have came earlier than he is right now.
Yeah.
Like, but he decided to wait, and he's actually been like in the gym, hitting like practicing, you know, hitting shots, and I think people are sleeping on him a little bit because of like his injury. Because like they haven't seen him play in a while, and I think there's a lot of recency bias in the NBA chat logs, you know what I'm saying, or blogs or whatever. But I think Kawhi definitely going to be very strong this year.
But you don't think the Clippers can win the championship?
Because I don't think he can stay healthy like over like 82 games.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, he has not really since 2019.
I think he will only play 50 games, 55.
Right. I think 55, but I think they'll structure those 55 so that he's ready to go for the playoffs.
But then I don't know how many games Paul George is going to play.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Know?
Well, Paul George has had more fluky injuries. Like,
yeah, but Paul George is the type of guy he'll miss like 3 weeks, but then he'll play for like 3 weeks and then miss another 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like or like Kawhi will like he's like debilitating injury and he's in a wheelchair. You know, like If they're two different type of guys, and
Yeah.
if they do not align their injuries at the same time, then like I don't see the Clippers doing as well as you think.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's my take.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could be wrong. Like, especially like when you're predicting injuries, like
Well,
you're really it's literally no factual basis.
Very difficult to predict,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's why, I think in general, unless it's someone that has like chronic problems, which even Kawhi I think does have some kind of chronic knee problem, I think you kind of just say if healthy, who's the best team?
Exactly.
But yeah, so you think Clippers beat Lakers?
Yeah. Clippers.
Yeah, I kind of think that too.
But
Although is LeBron playing?
he's still game time decision as of right now.
Oof. Yeah, without LeBron, I think it's not even close. But
Yeah, without LeBron, bro, like just put Austin Reeves 40 minutes, bro. Hopefully he like gets better.
Austin Reeves drops 25.
Yeah, Austin Reeves drops 25. I want to see
high
that,
point of the Lakers season if that were to happen.
honestly.
Yeah.
What do you think about the two additions, Lonnie Walker and Kendrick Nunn?
I don't think either of them are that good.
I think I didn't even realize they got traded.
That's
gonna say, how like
I feel like Lonnie Walker's type of player
bad they were.
that you may not have even known existed.
I knew because he was a streamer sometimes. He was
Honestly,
a white on the waiver guy.
He was like a hypothetical streamer that never actually provided value.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I mean, he would get some boards. I feel like there's worse options as the season goes on,
Yeah.
So like, you really like with injuries, with like people taking having better spots and waiver placements. Like Lonnie Walker could be a guy you take. I think he's a better person you take now on the Lakers than he was on the Spurs. Though that's just my
Probably.
I think
I do think if we're talking about one of the Lakers starters being maybe worth streaming in fantasy, that says a lot about
that. Yeah,
that
honestly,
roster
yeah.
construction.
And their stat line showed it too. So
yeah, like 5 points, right?
I don't even know to be
Yeah.
honest. And he played a decent amount of minutes too. It's not like he was sidelined.
Well, the thing to remember with the Lakers though is that the playoffs are in April, not in November, right?
Yeah.
So they have all the time between now and the trade deadline
Trade
to
deadline, yeah.
change up their roster, figure out what works, potentially get rid of Russ.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm not going to count out the Lakers yet, but
Yeah.
definitely not the strongest team.
Definitely
Not
not.
the strongest showing so far. So
Also, we didn't really talk much about AD. Like AD, he played well.
played decent, yeah.
He played decent. I
Yeah.
think. Like also him, like he's kind of like a hooper, but he doesn't really need to be. You know what I'm saying?
that's true. That's true.
Like he'll take fadeaway shots, but he's the size
He's a
of
center.
like he's big. He's like,
Yeah.
and I think like he's kind of like taking his game in like the Pelicans and kind of rewired it a little bit to become like more Hooper like, which I believe he's going in the wrong direction.
Right. He's going the right direction for hooping, wrong direction for winning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is not what the Lakers need right now.
No, definitely not.
And I think, especially with teams that LeBron's been on, I think like solid like role player centers are like the way to go. If you look at the like LeBron's history with centers,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I think,
but
you
also
know-
he won a championship with AD, so
he did.
like I think those two are not the problem with the Lakers. It's everyone else.
It is everyone else.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. Honestly, everyone else is tradable, so
It
You
is,
know.
yeah. Honestly,
they'll make some moves.
Yeah, honestly, their starting lineup is.
I didn't realize Lonnie Walker was in their starting lineup.
I know that's rough.
That
But
is
you know,
rough.
I don't think Austin Reeves is, and
No,
I
he's
think
not.
he should be.
Austin Reeves is not actually that good though.
I think Austin Reeves is the guy over Lonnie at least. That's just
Let's see how many points Austin Reeves had.
Oh no, Austin Reeves had like only 1-3. But
Yeah,
like I think
exactly.
like he has the potential. You know, do you see his layup that he got?
I did see that
the
layup.
steal
I
into
was
the layup?
watching. Yeah,
And I was like,
watching what happened.
Austin Reeves. Honestly, what a guy.
All right, I have a topic.
Okay.
So I think we talked about this a few times, but how like this is the most open the championship has been in a while in terms of there not being one dominant team, right? So what I actually did a little bit of research, and I looked at the preseason title favorites from the last, since the Warriors won the first championship in 2015. So the best odds on the favorite before this year, but in that range, are the Clippers in 2019, which is plus 400 or plus 425.
That's pretty low.
Yeah.
But how about
But
this year?
This year, there's 3 teams at plus 600, which is the Celtics, the Clippers, and the Warriors.
The Warriors.
So it's like and most year like that 425 is even pretty high.
Right.
Before that, so last year, the Nets
200.
were the favorites at plus 240.
I remember that.
Before that, it was Lakers plus 275. Then you had the Clippers plus 425. Then you have the 3 KD years where KD was on the Warriors.
Right.
All 3 years, they're better than minus 100. So it's minus 168, minus 187, and minus 128. Which means like the odds for the Warriors to win the championship were higher than everyone else put together. Which like also was pretty fair.
It's pretty fair, yeah.
But this surprised me. In 2015, 2016, when the Warriors won 73 games, the most of any regular season team, in October, the Cavs were actually the favorites. Plus 280 for the LeBron Cavs to win the championship, which did actually happen. So
yeah, it did.
They were right. They were right. But yeah, so I think that does show that this is like a very even year, right?
Right. I think there's a lot of reasons why that is, and like I think it's like kind of like it's the end of an era. I feel like
you think so.
NBA basketball. I think
like the LeBron, Steph.
The LeBron, Steph. You know, it's time for like the next. It's kind of like One Piece. You know what I'm saying? Like the old guys are kind of out. You know, like Whitebeard is dead.
LeBron is Whitebeard.
LeBron is Whitebeard, and like the rookies like Luffy are like coming in, bro, and they're taking up. They're making a name for themselves, and I think that is honestly, but like those 3 teams, like the youngest star is Jason Tatum, but after that, like Paul George, Kawhi, they're not young players.
No, they're in that. I mean, the crazy thing is like, it's like I said like LeBron Steph generation, but there were like 8 years of LeBron before Steph was even like drafted.
It's true. That's why. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody pulling on LeBron, and I think like that's why LeBron kind of gets some disrespect these days, bro. I sent you a picture, right? It was like a fantasy guy who was like, should I trade Mike Conley and Jamal Murray for LeBron? I was like those 2 players versus LeBron's legacy, bro. Like, it's just not like
right, but it's fantasy.
But it's fantasy, obviously. Yeah. But like, the comment underneath was like, yo, don't disrespect LeBron like that. And I was like, that's hilarious. But at the same time, like, you know, I think people are sleeping on the king, and obviously, like, he's old, right? And it's not like something like football with Tom Brady where like.
Right, you can't be a quarterback. I mean, even being a quarterback though, it's fairly physical, but
it is physical. But there's no
mostly
the
passing.
defense.
Yeah.
The defense is where like a player will be really good. Like a player like Steph Curry, like even like him, like where his offense is so good, and like obviously their age doesn't really matter that much to like just shoot a 3. But like when your like knees start buckling on defense and like people can cook you so easily, your offense becomes a lot less effective.
I mean, we kind of saw that last season in the playoffs with Chris Paul.
That's true. You know,
it's kind of that.
Chris Paul is, I think, a more prime example. I think Steph Curry, like, he still gets steals. He's still athletic. I think he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, Steph is really athletic. Steph also has way less minutes in the NBA than Chris Paul or LeBron, even given that he's a few years younger.
It's true. But I think if they didn't have a breakaway player like Jordan Poole, like, the Warriors would not be as strong as they are. And I think that's like a example of the young guys are kind of taking over in a way.
I like LeBron as Whitebeard.
Yeah, no, LeBron has Whitebeard.
We need him to go out with a bang though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So we need one more championship for LeBron.
We do
before he gets the shot up.
Yeah, Westbrook is ace. Kendrick's, what's it called? LeBron's trying to save Westbrook.
Honestly, AD kind of looks like Whitebeard's second in command too. You know what I'm talking about? The guy with the blonde hair.
What are you talking about?
He kind of looks like a pineapple. Guy? Yeah.
He doesn't look like AD.
I don't know. I gotta see it.
Maybe.
He's got like the long head.
I guess. I don't know. I think there's people who in the One Piece universe that look more like AD.
That's fair.
that aren't AD.
AD does kind of look like a One Piece character in general. With, like,
I think
weird
so,
proportions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's the way the characters are drawn, you know.
Yeah. All right, so if you had to pick one out of those 3 teams, Clippers, Celtics, or Warriors.
I actually think the Celtics.
Really? I thought you were a Celtics hater.
Okay, you told me 3 teams. Okay.
Yeah, those are the 3. Those are the 3 favorites.
If the Warriors win another championship, I already know the conversation of like people are gonna say like Steph Curry is better than like LeBron in legacy wise because he has more rings.
More rings, yeah.
Right, and I think that is crazy talk, first of all, but also like it is a valid point when like someone has more rings and you're the star player on the when you're the star player on a team, right? And then you're not only able to beat the person you're like in competition to hold with your legacy, even with KD, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say two of those he had KD. So.
To have KD, right? But like even then, like it's still like respectable, I would say, and like it opens up the conversation. Right now, I don't think the conversation is there at all. But
no,
like,
I mean,
it's like
Steph is like a borderline top 10 player of all time, and LeBron is 1 or 2. So.
Yeah, but the Steph Curry, like once he tied rings with LeBron, it already opened the door an inch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you heard the chat logs, bro. I heard it, bro. The Steph Curry fans, the peeps, they're opening the door. They're like saying they're opening Pandora's box and seeing what comes out. And then like obviously people are like you're insane. But like Steph Curry fans are just insane in general. Like that's just how it is.
Well then, maybe you shouldn't worry about what they have to say about Steph versus LeBron.
That's
like,
just disrespectful.
I mean, like, yeah, Steph would need to play till he's Tom Brady's age to be close to LeBron. But they're both great players.
Both great players. Yeah. And I think another ring would just make the Warriors team like more annoying than they are right now. So, and I want Draymond to have another ring too.
And then you think the Clippers are too injury prone, so that leaves the
I
Celtics.
Too, like if I had to put my money on who makes it to the farthest, I would put Celtics. I put Celtics.
I respect that. I think they look really good in the first game, so hopefully that continues.
They look really good. And I think
Brogdon looked like a good addition. I thought they would be much worse without Robert Williams than they were. So
I thought so too, but at the same time, they really had Robert Williams in the playoffs. Both against the Heat and the Warriors, and they still did really well.
He played, I think, almost every game against the Warriors.
He played almost every game, only averaging maybe like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you honestly, and his impact, actually, he had a solid impact.
He did have good impact.
He didn't play back, even with like those injuries, but I think without him, like they weren't even that bad.
No, definitely not. Definitely still a really good team.
Especially because Jason Tatum was kind of choking in the playoffs at one point.
Yeah.
So obviously, right now, I think he's kind of learned what he has to do, and he's been to the championship, and I think getting to the championship level is that's a really important experience for a team that is going to take the championship next year. I think that's why it looks so good for them. That's why I think even though the Grizzlies have a great team, I think they're hyped up right now. Not having a good playoff run to get that experience, I think
they won in the first round, competitive series against the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
I think that was a successful season for the Grizzlies for sure.
No, it definitely was, but obviously a 2-seeder. I feel like if they were able to at least get to the semifinals in the West, I think that would have helped them a lot.
They did make it to the semifinals. You mean finals? Conference finals.
Conference finals. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, the conference finals. Sorry about that.
I know what you mean. That is actually the semifinals of the bracket.
Technically,
so. Yeah.
They don't really count it I hate how they give conference final championship. You know what I'm saying?
That's really stupid.
I'm like, what? They didn't win shit yet. This is NBA, right? National. This is not half the world. I mean, Toronto's not even in our country, but it's that's why I'm it's a little confusing when they start bringing out the hats and throw out the confetti. I was like, okay, it's what it is though.
You think it's not the award isn't earned though?
No, I think it's a weird celebration that bro, no one's the NBA players they don't even want that shit, bro.
I think they're happy that they won the conference finals, but I know what you mean
because they have a chance at the chip.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's
it's
fair.
Kind of the Kobe mentality. Their job's not done, and something a celebration like that, I think puts a weird thing in your head that we already made it. I don't know. I think if you give them nothing, it makes them hungrier.
But
I think that's
Steph won Western Conference Finals championship, then he played fantastically in the finals. So
I'm just obviously it's not the rule. I'm just saying it's just silly. I mean, because one of them has to win, and they both won conference finals. So you can use that argument for any team that does that.
Right.
It's
50%
he won.
of conference final MVPs will win the championship. The other 50% will,
But 100% of them won the conference finals.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
there's also selection bias there.
Yeah, so it's just obviously.
Yeah.
But honestly, like that wasn't obviously the reasons why the Celtics lost either. They were just like dead by the time they got to the Warriors. So yeah. How about you? What do you think? Obviously you think like Clippers Nets are gonna.
I'm
be
all
the
in Clippers
championship
Nets.
finals. You think, bro? You think the team that got swept
Yes,
by the Celtics is gonna be the conference finals?
I do.
You're crazy, bro. I don't even think like they might make like. I don't even know if they're top 5 in the East.
I think probably around 49 wins in the regular season, but I think if they can get their role players healthy and if they can figure out a way to properly use Ben Simmons, they'll be a really strong team. I think KD is still a top 2 player in the NBA, so I'm not doubting him, even though he really let us down last year.
He did. But, put it on the line, bro.
That was. But like, I think that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. But like that was just like the start of it.
That might as well have been last year for the KD stands out there.
Last year was
last year got erased from the memory.
Close,
that got Men in Blacked.
Yep.
But
I wish I could wipe my mind, bro. Yeah. Especially that Jason Tatum like spin move to win the
that
game.
was
That was insane.
But yeah, no, that's my Eastern Conference and Western Conference pick right now. It could change.
I think, like I said, bro, it's gonna be Mavs Grizzlies on the West.
Okay, so that's the final 4: Mavs,
Grizzlies,
Sixers,
Celtics.
and Celtics. Okay,
yeah, that's my pick.
Okay,
and I'm sticking to that.
That would be a hype playoffs.
I think so.
I would love if that happened.
But like, I think that goes to show like how open like the championship is right now. It's really
Let's actually
like
check.
even though like
Let's check what the Grizzlies' odds are. Actually, you guess what the Grizzlies' odds are to win the championship.
I think it's like so like
DraftKings.
obviously DraftKings and like those books need to keep it like very appealing. So I think it's gonna be plus 950 for
plus
the
950
Grizz. For Grizz.
That is a pretty
and
good
Mavs.
guess, I think. Mavs are, I would say, like plus 1,500.
No, I think 1,200 for Mavs.
Mavs
Maybe
should be
1,100 actually.
favorite or long odds. Okay, let's see. Futures
1,100,
champion
950, 600s. That's
we're both super wrong. Grizzlies plus 2,200 to win the championship.
That's crazy.
Mavericks. Okay, I was also super wrong. Also, same odds as the Grizzlies, which is actually like a lot of respect to Luka.
Damn,
because
that's crazy.
if you take Luka and Ja off, like the Mavs roster is so much worse than the Grizzlies roster. But I guess that is fair. Yeah. So just go from top 10, Clippers, Warriors, Celtics, all plus 600. Then it's the Brooklyn Nets at plus 700.
How about Sixers? What's the Sixers line?
So after the Nets, it's the Bucks plus 800.
Plus 800.
Then the Suns plus 1,200. Then Sixers plus 1,500.
That's respect to the Sixers. I think the Sixers are really good.
Actually, right after the Sixers, Lakers plus 1,800.
Okay, that's like they're baiting the LeBron people.
They are baiting the LeBron stands.
That's such a Vegas sportsbook thing to do.
But I also do think there's an element of that, of what we talked about earlier, where the playoffs are in April, right? The Lakers team in the playoffs could be very different from the Lakers team right now.
And they could be contenders.
Yeah, like if there was no trades allowed in the NBA, the Lakers would not be that high. But the fact there are, like they have two, top 12 players, right? Like two top 15 players, LeBron and AD. So I do think they have a decent chance to tune up the roster.
I think that goes to also like to the negative impact of the Grizzlies and the Mavs, because I don't think they're gonna make that many big trades with their teams. Because
the Mavs can't really make any moves. Just that. That's actually something we should talk about in a future podcast. Like the Mavs, like low key, have done a horrible job of giving Luka support.
They have.
We can say that for the future though. But like I was thinking this last night after that Damian Lee floater.